Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we've got some news today. Creative Assembly have dropped some gameplay for Thrones of Decay and unfortunately they weren't able to give it to us early. So I'm a little bit late, but I want to do the usual. I want to go over their video and kind of stop at places of interest to discuss because I feel like that's going to be kind of fun. So let's not waste any more time and get started. I'm pretty excited about this.
Tanky, disgusting, inevitable.
Look at him! He's glorious!
Tamurkhan offers the fantasy of building a warband from scratch.
Good work, Kask. I couldn't ask for a better right-hand... thing.
But he also has these kind of nurgly abilities which make him really disgusting and awesome.
Tamurkhan the Maggot Lord's reeking corpse has puppeted many powerful and grotesque faces, but none have served him quite like Karak Break Mountain.
Okay, two minor things. First up, nice to see them putting devs' faces into the videos. It's actually a good communication thing, which I'm pleasantly surprised about. They've not been doing this for, Warhammer 2 days? Very early Warhammer 2 days. Second thing, cool animation about stomping that dwarf. I really hope that these animations that are being shown off are not just some studio magic. When it comes to big animations like this, kill sync and all that type of shit, people do genuinely enjoy them. They like to go in, watch the models do their thing.
It is in this ogre tyrant's decaying flesh that Tamurkhan seeks to gather a great horde and fulfill a twisted prophecy of disease and desolation. Delusions of grandeur and questionable hygiene, my kind of legendary lord. We're diving into Tamurkhan's Immortal Empires campaign with ambitions of painting the world green as Nurgle's favourite.
Oh good god, this is actually pretty good. So faction effects and lord effects are being showcased, and yeah, there's a lot of bonuses to non-demonic units. This means that Tamurkhan's going to focus quite heavily on mortal units. That's great. This was actually something that I mentioned in a video about 5 months ago, that if Tamurkhan ends up in Nurgle, it would feel really weird if he was incentivized to use demons a lot, because at the end of the day, if you've read through the Throne of Chaos story, the majority of his army is mortal. It's literal chaos warriors and stuff like that. So it's quite good to see that. I'm actually really happy. Also, campaign movement range plus 10% for all armies is really good, actually. Okay, and starting army, 2 chaos warriors with great weapons, 1 plague ogre with standard weapons, I guess? A Pestigore unit. You get a lot of great weapons, actually. And a Rot Knight. And yeah, you're beginning in Kadafa. This is very obvious, which is the plane of Zanbaijin. Yeah, makes sense for the story, makes sense for the plot, makes sense for pretty much the campaign. Yeah, okay, cool.
But we're kicking off in Kudatha, smack bang in the middle of the Northern Chaos Waste, and we're already running into some angry Norskans. Must be the smell. I'd apologise, but I'm not sorry. Because what's there to be sorry about? Look at him. He's glorious. A solid set of starting abilities makes Tamurkhan a formidable, putrid melee force. Feast of the Maggot Lord is particularly interesting to me because popping back up after dying to surprise and harass the enemy general...
Love this. This is a pretty nice representation of the rule on the tabletop. Obviously it's a bit different, but it kind of makes sense. I actually really am really surprised, and I feel like this is going to be used again in the future when they eventually, if they eventually do an End Times DLC, better yet said, and bring in Scar Bloodwrath. So yeah, stuff like this is super cool. I love it.
It's just good fun. Coupled with the Maggot Lord trait and a -3 to wound recovery time, and you're looking at a playstyle that speaks to my soul. Reckless, disgusting chaos. We'll learn more about Tamurkhan's infectious inspiration soon, but for now, we've got a garden to build, so we'll construct some weeping creepers for the bonus to growth. Worth noting here, as part of the Nurgle alterations, only military buildings now feature the cycle mechanic to address player feedback that it wasn't great for Nurgle's economy.
Okay, so you start with a tier 2 building, which is awesome. That means that, yeah, you've got a slot there. 1 building's already up and running. I imagine that that's going to be, well, they showcase recruitment, they showcase growth, so that's either economy or maybe public order. Yeah, I mean, that looks good. And garrison buildings, proper garrison buildings now. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's where you're going to be getting your spellcasters from, it seems. It does seem that you're going to need both, though, to be able to get all your different options, but I mean, you're probably just going to go with the one with the cultist and the... I think that's the sorcerer, I'm not 100% too sure.
For an in-depth dive into the changes, check out the links below to read the blog. Much like a garden, a dependable economy relies on stability and an inexhaustible supply of fertilizer. And with that in mind, let's go beat the fertilizer out of these Norskins.
Taumrkhan's whole inspiration was the Throne of Chaos novel. The DLC is even named after it in Thrones of Decay. And in that, he builds this huge warband to try to destroy the Empire, and this time, maybe you can make him a bit more successful.
He comes with all these really exciting units that I think Nurgle players have been dying to get their hands on. So yeah, he's definitely going to fill some holes in that roster. Tamurkhan is a really tanky character who has a lot of weapon strength that he can bring to bear against single targets. Where he kind of falls down is when he's surrounded by many other kind of smaller targets that deal anti-large damage, or when he's shot at from a distance.
The Nurgle tech
All right, they're going to explain it now, but holy shit, that looks great! Oh my god, I hated the Nurgle tech tree so much. This is this is fantastic. I am actually really pleasantly surprised. So, faction, military. Hopefully we see these changes coming into some of the others, because the Khorne tech tree is awful too, and so is the Sinesh one. This is great. This is wonderful. A great change. Like, I don't even know what half of them do yet, and it's still a much better change than before.
tree has been rebuilt from the ground up. Currently, it's all about Kugas' Realms of Chaos experience, where we wanted it to be more dynamic, that works for every Nurgle character. We reworked elements of the Nurgle feature set because we thought the theme was there, but maybe it just needed to be dialed up to 11. We designed Tamurkhan to be this big bruiser beatstick. Swapping bodies feels like it loses a little bit of that fantasy for how we'd envisioned him, and the chieftains kind of carry where he can't quite handle himself.
Good work, Kaisk. I couldn't ask for a better right-hand thing. Okay, our garden's growing nicely, we're pushing into the blood marshes, and our liquefying mouth plague is ravaging the withering fortress. That's a tongue twister. As part of the Nurgle changes, we've addressed feedback that should make plagues more experimental and less min-maxy, so you feel like a real pox brewer. Unfortunately for us, I don't have enough infections right now.
Alright, it's not a big clip, but I'll tell you what, it does look a lot better than it was. Like, miles better. We discussed this yesterday in the blog, but yeah, plague system looks really, really good. Really hope they give this to Skrulk, though, because, yeah, like, it's a major clan. Please, I know people from CA watch my videos. Skrulk, plagues, please.
Dang. Actually, doesn't matter. Our latest conquest has put us in a position to recruit new hideous help. Tamurkhan's chieftains are a ragtag band of bile and boils, lured to the master of hosts' undeniable dominance. These festering heroes join our cause, bringing with them loyal soldiers from their own cultures. Kaisk the Befouled, Nurgle's legendary hero, has already embedded himself in our army and offers powerful units in exchange for a cost of dominance which is earned through battles and events. Our conflict with the Norscan Curs has won us Kaisk's continuous loyalty, in turn unlocking additional boons and powerful campaign abilities. Joining Kaisk is Kargan the Crazed, Katezak Fimdarak, Mornhow, Grokma Freehorn, and Ezar Doombolt.
Okay, I love this. Yeah, so this looks to be a system of pseudo-legendary heroes. We've seen this before with like the Vampire Ghost and stuff, but you're going to be able to get your hands on, say, for example, a Dreadquake Mortar, some Mammoths and stuff like that. This fits with the book, which they said, right? They said earlier on in the video, they used the book as inspiration, and I tell you what, I'm getting major vibes of it. Like I've said many, many times in many, many videos, Throne of Chaos was one of the best books Games Workshop ever released as a campaign. And yeah, this is genuinely exciting. This is also going to get you access to Hell Cannons too. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. A really good system, which was definitely needed for a character like this.
All heroes with their own merits, and we'll need to call on each of them to build our unending host. With their own petty grievances to satisfy, Tamurkhan's chieftains will influence the flow of our campaign, but earning their ultimate devotion will be a bloody affair, though well worth the effort. More chieftains info shortly, but for now, I spy with my decaying eye Skaven ruins to the south, and if I know my immortal empire's geography, we can expect Boris's Kislevice beyond the blood marshes. Skaven or Kislev, Ezar or Kargan. We'll get to both eventually, and Kargan's Hell Cannons are tempting, but the coward in me is crying out for some better ranged units. Let's recruit Ezar Doombolt into our merry band and use our remaining dominance to purchase a unit of Chaos Dwarf blunderbusses. With some angry dwarven engineering behind us, we'll make short work of the inferior war host. Short work, I'm sorry.
I'm super excited for the Chieftain's mechanic because it allows you to build a bit of a bonkers brigade. Lots of different flavors of chaos all under the Nurgle banner. It was inspired by his story, which was uniting different tribes of chaos and flavors of chaos, so we thought it was important to bring to the game.
Alright, so Sean here has been repeating what he said before, but I feel like it's actually quite important to discuss. See, one of the big things that I've had as a bugbear with this game is sometimes the matchups have been weird. Like, for example, Malice versus Deathmaster Snickage and so on. There's a few campaign books, there's a few good novels to be able to use where really good matchups can be brought into effect, where theming like this is tremendously important, and it does actually generate more interest and buzz from the fan base, especially the old guard like myself. So I am actually fairly keen with the idea of this, and hopefully we'll see it more. There's loads that we've been able to see, right? Like, we've seen the dwarf side of this DLC is a Storm of Chaos, right? And we've had some Storm of Chaos stuff come in with the Shadow to Change stuff. Why not do a big Storm of Chaos DLC, bring in Boris Todbringer through that, right? Ulrich, the changes to Morathi, for example, where they had like a Soneshi Dark Elf army. Stuff like that would sell because it tugs on the nostalgia, and the nostalgia factor is so powerful when it comes to a game like this. Hopefully Creative Assembly have learned this.
Tamurkhan's campaign playstyle has him roaming around the Warhammer map and bringing in all these different cultures in the form of these chieftains. And in battle, these chieftains augment Tamurkhan's own abilities to smash up enemy armies and cause a lot of devastation.
Keep in mind that any stats that you're seeing right now would probably be subject to change. You never know with balancing and so on. Nothing here is final, but the Rot Knights look pretty disgusting. 75 speed and pretty good stats all around. They're going to be really good for damage. And one thing I'm going to say, this is probably one of the best edited videos that Creative Assembly have ever released. The editing is absolutely fantastic, and I really, really hope that this continues because it is a really high quality.
Tamurkhan at his core is still a Nurgle faction. The extra units from different rosters are unique even from some of the ones we've done before, so no one's ever had access to Chaos Dwarves mixed with Nurgle. The Chieftain mechanic is about gaining the fealty of the other flavors of Chaos, getting the best of them and making the ultimate war host.
Essentially, it's a sub-faction, but without being a sub-faction because, things are limited, but I like it. I actually really like the idea of this. A full sub-faction for Tamurkhan wouldn't work because it would be just way too overpowered. You'd have all the durability of Nurgle, and then, most of the roster of the Chaos Dwarves. So having just a few units here and there is really interesting to me. I can't wait to play around with it. It's really, really cool. It's kind of funny, though, because obviously you've got Kasich, who is another Nurgle tribe, so you've got the green units there. You see the green icon, and it's like, oh yeah, these aren't yours, they're actually from this other sub-faction.
Oh, Kasich's by far my favourite. He's got toad dragons, what's not to love?
Toad dragons, the perfect remedy for backstabbing Grimgor. Whilst we were busy with Boris, Mr. Ironhide trampled our garden, yet I'm struggling to be upset. Ezard don't much fancy your kind, and he's been positively popping with excitement and overflowing with fealty with each volley of his Doombolt. We've got dominance growing out of our boils, and we're going to use it to field a few Dreadquake mortars. I told you, Grimgor, we greenskins should stick together, but no. Look what you've made me do. Elsewhere, our Kizovite conflict has made Kargan crazy.
Okay, this is actually really, really important because we know he's got 2 armies, but yeah, his economy isn't that bad. Turn 60, he might even have more armies. The roster isn't bad. We know how expensive most of these troops are, right? Actually, he's got none of the new... Well, he's got one of the new units. Yeah, okay, so Nurgle's economy was properly fixed because they said that they were boosting it. Now it actually looks genuinely quite good, 2 Forsaken, a bunch of Plague Bearers. Come on, with Nurgle you were mostly Nurglings, right? But this actually looks like a proper army. I'm actually quite happy.
With love for Tamurkhan, so we'll activate his March of the Crazed ability to refill his army's campaign movement and begin the siege of Karak Vrag ahead of Tamurkhan's slow arrival. That's a lot of orcs, so we've split into 4 fronts. Kargan and our Chaos Lord are leading the main bulk, and across the way, we've got 1 small army and a pair of lonely siege engines. With Tamurkhan's reinforcements incoming, we've tricked Grimgor into leaving a section of his wall poorly defended. Our Plague Bearers are about to climb the wall, so we'll have our Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle give them a little something to take the edge off any nasty swords they might encounter. A touch of leprosy should do it.
Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle is a mortal spellcaster that brings the Laws of Death and the Laws of Nurgle to the Nurgle roster in a nicely armoured package.
There he is. Tamurkhan joins the party, so we'll link our cavalry units up with the main bulk. When the gates are down, our Bile Trolls will be first through the breach.
Bile Trolls are a Nurgly twist on the idea of a Chaos Troll. They have this ability which allows them to debuff enemy melee defense, which allows all of your Nurgle units to really hit a lot more reliably.
Walls mounted. Gates coming down. The plague can be slowed but never stopped. Who better to spread Nurgle's gift than Kask the Befouled?
Kask the Befouled is this kind of rotting champion of Nurgle. He rides a rot beast, you don't get him on foot. He's fast, he's agile, he's really not what you'd expect from a Nurgle character.
Alright, so very impressive stats. Yeah, I'm actually quite happy about this. He starts off mounted too, so he's going to be a terror on the battlefield. Pretty good. I mean, regeneration anti-infantry also. I can see him taking out some characters. I mean, come on, right? The Rot Beast is going to be there for a reason. Yeah. Really good charge bonus too. Wow. Maybe I can finally have my Nurgle cavalry army. It's a meme thing from the tabletop back in the day, and yeah, it could be useful now. Alright, we're going to end it here. There's not a lot of information after that. I've had a little quick gander just in case. Yeah, I mean, this seems really, really fun. Tamurkhan is a character, big fan, always really mention him in whenever I can, actually. So it's good to see him finally coming in. I feel like the body switching mechanic should have still really been a thing, but I understand that it probably would have taken a long time, and there could have been much more bugs because then that would have classed as different DPs and so on. So I prefer losing out on that if it means that everything works as intended. Hopefully, everything that we've seen works as normal when the game actually releases, because that's a big thing. But so far, I'm pretty happy with everything. It's looking fairly impressive. I can't wait to see what they've done with Elseth and Malachi. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's start a bit of a discussion. I do apologize for being late, but the release happened. We didn't get it early. I was running around like a lunatic. For those of you who've seen on Twitter, I've been sorting out my Savage Orcs. So yeah, see you soon.
Which makes him really interesting.
With chieftains in mind, I wonder how Kargan's doing. As you were, Kargan, good work. I'm gonna go play with the Toad Dragons.
The Toad Dragon is the big bad beastie for the Nurgle roster. It excels at dealing with large groups of infantry and smashing through the enemy battle lines.
Whilst Tamurkhan and the Toad Dragons break their lines, Azar and his blunderbusses mop up the stragglers, and we deploy some of our heaviest hitters.
The regiments of renown for Nurgle are the Rotting Riders, who are a unit of Rot Knights, the Angels of Decay, which are a unit of Plague Drones, and Noxbringer, who is a Soul Grinder. My favourite out of these regiments of renown are the Rotting Riders.
These Kurgan horsemen have followed Kask since the beginning, but they were once esteemed knights. Reinforcements, eh? I think not. Bubalos feeds on a buffet of orcs. More fertilizer for the garden. Our war host grows with our fealty and begs the question, who do we recruit next? First impressions? Favourite chieftain? Let us know in the comments below or follow our links to wishlist now.